What's up, guys? Rick here with your preview for this week's Zurich Classic. And what a week it will be. A very unique, different, strange event that we have on the PGA Tour this week because golfers are playing as two-man teams. Yeah, we'll talk all about that and the unique nature of it. But before we do, let me remind you, our listener league over on Splash is live. We're back to normal, right? Last couple of weeks have been kind of some different styles of contest, but this is your standard $20 entry, 6 tiers. Pick one golfer from each of 6 tiers. Top 5 scores move on. Very flat, friendly payout structures and completely guaranteed. So somebody's going to turn $20 into $1,900. Second place is going to be $1,500. There's 100 payouts on 834 people. So very friendly, fan forward. Fan forward. That's a common phrase that's being thrown around these days. But yeah, this is very fan forward from myself and the boys over at Splash. So link is in the description for everything that you need there. This week's Zurich, boy, oh boy. Let's dive into this. And you might never hear me say this again. Just throw the data out the window. Like we don't need it, right? This is strokes gained vibes. We'll definitely look at the data, obviously, but just a really strange, highly volatile event where a lot of things can happen. A lot of teams that do not look good can compete, all that fun stuff. So here's the schedule of events for this week. If you have not been around for this event, or if you need a refresher from last year, first off, shouts to the guys at Zurich and this event for having free admission on Monday and Tuesday's practice rounds. That's pretty sick. Okay. So you can get in Monday, Tuesday for free. Thursday, round 1 is best ball. So every golfer, 2-man teams, will play their own ball, and whatever score is best will be that team's score. So Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry are playing together. If Rory makes a 3, Shane makes a 4, they use Rory's 3. Scores are going to be incredibly low. You may see 59s. You are almost certainly going to see teams threaten 59. There's a lot of luck in that, right? You want obviously high birdie rate golfers, high upside golfers. Making a bogey doesn't really matter because your partners, it's rare that you're both going to make bogey on your own golf ball. So you want this high volatility, but there is this kind of ham and egg situation to it, right? Where if you guys each make 9 birdies, but you make them on the same holes, that's not great. If you each make 9 birdies and you make them on opposite holes, that's amazing, right? You've just shot a 54 or whatever, depending on what the par is here, but you've just fired at 18 under. So there is a little bit of luck in that nature. Friday is foursomes, aka alternate shot. My buddy Greg Ducharme says if you need a way to remember this, best ball, you hit all the shots. Foursomes, you hit some of the shots. So that is alternate shot. That is a much more difficult format. That is, you have to know each other's golf ball. The scores are going to be much worse. Anything under par historically is a very, very good round in alternate shot. And then they do it again on Saturday and Sunday. So best ball, foursomes, best ball, foursomes. We will end up with that alternate shot on the final round, which is always fun. They flipped that a couple of years ago. They used to end in best ball, and I actually did not think that was a good idea. Here's the metrics for TPC Louisiana, and this is all over the place because this event used to be an individual event. Then as it turned into a team event, 6 or 7 years ago, this data, again, we're throwing the data out. It's all over the place. But I did, in some parts of the website on RickRunGood.com, my website, I loaded in players as teams, right? So you can see the adjusted course fit for Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy in this field at this golf course. The power rankings for this week will be your best friend because I think that's just the easiest way to look at all these players as a team. But we're going to go through this and kind of see the best way to attack the field. So here's the cheat sheet. We'll go back and forth between the cheat sheet and the power rankings a lot this week. You'll notice that every pair of golfers are going to be the same price. So both Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry are $12,400. You cannot roster both of them. Okay, so that is a little bit different. Well, I'm not even going to make that analogy because that'll just be more confusing. But the $12,400 price tag, it doesn't matter which one you select. they're going to score the same number of points this week. It does not matter if Rory McIlroy makes 40 birdies and Shane Lowry makes 0 birdies. All of those are going to the team. All of those points go to the team. You cannot roster both of them. It does not matter which one you click. They're going to earn the same number of points. So when you go to the power rankings here, what I've done is I've got this sorted by salary, but I have this combined into teams. Now you can look at this as individuals and you can see the other fields for this week, but for the Zurich Classic, there is a team tab. So now this is looking at whatever number of rounds that you want. I've got it defaulted to the last 36 for the combined players. So putting Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy together. And what you'll notice is they are, as you can imagine, the best team in the field. They're the most expensive. They're the favorites. They're the defending champions. Rory McIlroy coming off a Masters victory. They have probably not stopped celebrating since then, Rory and Shane together. So vibes are going to certainly be high. Listen, play them if you want. I don't care. They're going to be great. I think that it is difficult. We have seen historically it is difficult for the favorites to kind of win these events or to play really well in these events. You know, we saw a year where it was Colin and Victor. They did not play particularly well. Actually, Colin has not had a lot of good finishes in this event in general. The caveat to that has been Shane and Rory, and then basically Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele, who are historically amazing team players together. What you end up seeing is a lot of these $6,000 teams jumping up and getting themselves in the mix. So I'm probably not going to have a super ton of exposure to Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy. They are 1.74 strokes gained per round, the best in this field. We'll get to some of these other teams further down here in just a second. But the rest of the 10K is this: Kurt Kitayama and Colin Morikawa, Thomas Dietrich and Robert McIntyre, Keith Mitchell and JT Poston. I hate to say it, the Keith Mitchell JT Poston team is pretty intriguing to me. They are maniacs. And what I mean by that is they can both get crazy hot. They can both get crazy cold. And I think in a scenario like this, that's kind of what you want, right? I'm not against that. In fact, I'm actually trying to embrace it a little bit. Keith Mitchell has played unbelievable golf for 1 or 2 rounds every single week. Actually, last week, in case you missed it, he actually played really well in Punta Cana last week. He was in that like 6-way tie for second, 1 shot out of the playoff, and actually, again, off to another hot start. 5.5 strokes gained in the opening round in Punta Cana, 8 in round 1 at the Valero Texas Open, 5.2 in the opening round at Houston, 5.5 at Valspar. If this only played 1 round, Keith Mitchell would be the best golfer in the world. Unfortunately for Keith, they play 4. JT Poston, on the other hand, has started to heat up. We've been tracking this a lot, right? JT Poston is back to putting well. He is not as strong of a ball striker as Keith Mitchell, but you think that they do have some complementary skill sets, and they both can make a ton of birdies. So I'm generally in on this team. Keith Mitchell's had some decent success around this place, a T4 and a 6th place finish. I cannot remember if they played together in the past. Well, I guess I can kind of look and see what Poston's Zurich Classic stuff is. Yeah, it does not look like they played together. Does not look like it. Don't quote me on that, but it does not look like they played together in the past. This is probably going to be a pretty popular team, and for good reason. The other one that I think is interesting is, so first, I'm probably staying away from I'd rather just pay up for Lowry and Rory than go to the Kitayama and Colin group. Kitayama has not been as sharp. Again, I don't know what it is about Colin Morikawa. Maybe it's not Colin Morikawa at all. Maybe it's his partner. He doesn't have a very good record around here, and he usually has a very solid partner. I mentioned he was with Victor 1 year. I think he was the favorite with Max Homa 1 year. He's got a cut, a 29th, a cut, and a T23. T23 is your best finish at the Zurich Classic, with probably being on one of the top 3 teams each and every year is not good enough, quite honestly. So I don't know if it's him. It's probably just the format, because the format is absolutely insane. But I would probably just pay up for the big boys. And if I'm not going to pay up for the big boys, the Thomas Dietrich, Robert McIntyre group is also pretty interesting here. So if we look at the power rankings, they are gaining about a 0.5 stroke per round. And again, that is a lot of volatility with these guys. Dietrich, victory in Phoenix, you saw how good he was, starting to shake off that post-win slump a little bit. I like the way he's driving it again. He's driving it like he was prior to the victory. We still got to sharpen up some of the other aspects of his game, but we have seen guys and we'll talk about more guys in a bit, like break out of slumps at this event, right? You're engaged, you're working with a partner, your bad shots are not penalized as much because your partner's there for you, right? It allows you to be a little bit more free. And these two freewheeling it around, I think is a pretty interesting pairing. Golf season has kicked off, and there's no better place to sweat the action than DraftKings Daily Fantasy, the ultimate destination for fantasy golf fans. Right now, DraftKings is giving new customers a chance to play free for their share of millions in prizes with their first deposit on the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app. It's simple to play. Build your dream lineup while staying under the salary cap, then sit back and watch as your players rack up points. Every birdie, every bogey, every clutch putt, feel the intensity of every shot. Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry are back to defend their title at the Zurich Classic. Rory coming off a career grand slam thanks to his victory at the Masters, and these two are simpatico. The ability to golf each other's ball in alternate shot, the ability to go low in the best ball format makes them a formidable pair at the Zurich Classic. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app and enter promo code RickDFS to play free for your share of millions with your first deposit. That's RickDFS for new DraftKings customers. Just download the Daily Fantasy app today. The crown is yours. Sponsored by DraftKings. The 9K range, so that's Ben Griffin and Andrew Novak, Wyndham Clark and Taylor Moore, Tom Hoge and Billy Horschel, Aaron Rai and Sahith Theegala, and the Højgaards, Nikolai and Rasmus playing together, and then Nico Echeverria and Max Grazerman. A lot to unwrap here. So let's start with the Hoge Horschel group. So Billy Horschel, the one thing that Billy does, and I feel like I say this every year, he cares, and he cares a lot. And he cares a lot about these types of events. Remember, he's like, you know, with he's like that meme of Draymond Green like getting in Kevin Durant's face, like that to his partner. He's played here with Sam Burns a couple of times. He's got 3 top 4 finishes as a team. He is also, so he's won this event as a team. He has won this event as an individual. TPC Louisiana is a very good place for him. And he gets probably one of the hotter golfers that we have going right now. And you want hot, right? You want ball striking, you want putting, you want the approach and the putt, like those two things. Make a ton of birdies. That's what Tom Hoge is up to right now. Very good putting numbers. This is a strong team. This is a very strong team. I'd be interested to see how they are going to shake it out this week. The Højgaards will be popular, rightfully so. I'm looking at the Rai Sahith team. I'm cautiously optimistic here. Aaron Rai's been great, right? He was somebody who I had targeted for top debutant at the Masters. That didn't work out, but his first time around around Augusta National, he ends up finishing T27. He played okay at Harbortown, didn't putt particularly well, but he's a much better putter than we've seen out of him over the course of the last couple of weeks. And then you get Sahith, who has not been off to a very good start in 2025. And we have seen this a lot. This is, I said it earlier, this is a slump breaking event. It just changes the mindset. Sahith needs a mindset change, or I don't know if it's a mind. He needs a change right now. He is way too good to not have a top 15 finish in 2025. And he only has one top 25 finish. He's too good for that. And I think when you get him in a situation where not all the pressure is on him, right? And if he makes a bogey, it's not a big deal. I think this is a good spot for him. I have no idea what the industry is going to do with those two, but you want talent. It's okay if guys are coming in not so good form. I'm generally fine with that. And then outside, I think those are clearly the top two for me. The Wyndham Clark Taylor Moore team, I don't know. They could be fine. I'm not quite there yet. I do think the Nico Echeverria Max Grazerman team is interesting. Max Grazerman is a unicorn statistically on the PGA Tour, and I want to pull up and see how he's doing it right now. But he is usually a driving and a putting guy. That's great in alternate shot. It's great in best ball. I want to see if that's what we're seeing. Unfortunately not. Yeah, see, this is kind of the problem. Again, maybe this is the week where he snaps out of it, but to lose strokes off the tee in 6 straight and in 8 of 9, that's not good when that is the one strong suit of your game. So that was going to be tough. I did want to see the other side of this, though, which was Nico Echeverria. There's so many guys to keep track of, and who's pairing with who, and who has paired with whom in the past. Nico, yeah, see, this is what I like about it. I love the scorching hot putter. I love the high upside, but yeah, those two are probably struggling a little bit too much for my tastes right now. Here's the 8K range, and there's a lot here. I want to start at the bottom of this range. Laurie Cantor and Jordan Smith. So if you saw when we sorted this by strokes gained total over the last 36, these two were second behind Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry, and I'll show you why. And it's still surprising because Laurie Cantor was miserable at the Masters. Lost 7.5 strokes to the field that week. Actually got off to a good start, if I remember. He was like 2 under or 3 under early, and then just pure ejection. If you miss a cut and eject yourself from Augusta National, I do not care. Look at what he's done prior to that. I mean, the miscut, the Players Championship was on the number with some really good metrics, especially from tee to green. And then he has dominated on the DP World Tour, like literally dominated. He's been just piling up podiums, and he's been piling up really good tee to green metrics. I have those from on RickRunGood.com. I have the strokes gained breakdown. And then Jordan Smith, I'm pretty sure he was just in China. Right? I mean, how's that flight from China back to New Orleans? Yeah, here it is. Finishes runner-up at the Volvo China Open, picks up 17 strokes to the field, so almost wins on the European Tour last week. Really strong, solid player throughout. He's been a great professional for a long time. He piles up good finishes on the DP World Tour. These two are just they're just undervalued as, they're legit talented international golfers with a lot of experience. I think they're going to be just fine here. The metrics also bear that out, and they are at $8,000 even. The Ryan Fox Garrick Higo team grades well, and I don't hate it for him. I love it for him, but I hate it for us because Higo's win last week, like we would have liked this team without that win from last week. So he goes on and he wins, which was kind of coming. Right. So here's the last 5 starts from Higo, who's played PGA Tour and Korn Ferry Tour events. Not a lot. His status situation is not good. It is now, but it wasn't good. So he finished at 42nd at Farmers, 26th on the Korn Ferry, 12th in Puerto Rico, 3rd at the Club Car, and then wins in Punta Cana. Right. This was brewing. He was brewing towards this victory. A really talented raw. Remember when he snapped off 2 wins on the European Tour? He came over, he won Congaree immediately, and he was just thrust into the teeth of the PGA Tour grind, and I think it beat him up a little bit, and just incredibly talented. And then Ryan Fox, I love Ryan Fox for a couple reasons, not only because he's a great golfer, but he has an elite skill set, just an absolute masher. Right, like bombs it off the tee. He's going to put himself, he's going to give himself a ton of opportunities to make birdies. He's going to give himself and his partner an opportunity to play from correct spots. I think they will be more popular this week, and they are more expensive now because of Higo's victory last week, but it is still a team that's pretty sound. And then the Michael Thorbjornsen, Carl Phillips team, they might finish dead last. They might win this golf tournament. These are 2 incredibly raw young talents on the PGA Tour, but they are coming together at the right time. So Carl Phillips, who won earlier this year in Puerto Rico, I believe it was an opposite. Yeah, Puerto Rico, really has struggled. Here's the slump. Here's the post-win slump. Now you get to go with what I presume is somebody who is a friend of his. I don't know, but they're both from, I think, similar classes. He shot the round of the day on Friday at Harbor Town, I believe it was, or one of the rounds of the day. 4.5 strokes gained he picked up there. Really, really a good approach. I think he gained like 5 strokes on approach. Michael Thorbjornsen, who has not been all that good, just finished in that runner-up tie in Punta Cana last week. These two are great. Incredibly talented. Incredibly young. 23 and 23. Yeah. So I'm definitely intrigued by those two. They're playing some of their better golf, low bar, but they're playing some of their better golf right now, and just firepower beyond belief. Okay. The 7K range here is starting to get a little bit ugly, admittedly, but let's see what we can find. Everybody's in play this week. So you've got the Bramlett Smalley group. Smalley's one of the better players in this field, especially in this range, and Bramlett has an elite skill set. That is always a good thing. The Frankie Sappin, Jake Knapp group, the Knapp and Sappin group. Jake Knapp has won an event just like this, right? Now it's called the Grant Thornton. It's a co-ed event. You kind of look at that stuff, right? Like the QBE shootout, it's had a million names over the years. Whatever that is, right? So they're throwing Zurich Classic, you throw in that event at the end of the year. It's a style thing, right? We've seen Matt Kuchar crush at that event. We've seen who has Kuchar always been paired with in that, like stuff like that, right? I think it's a real kind of thing. Everybody knows I love Frankie Sapp, and again, just two immense birdie makers here. The Ryo Hisatsune Takumi Kanaya group. Hisatsune has played the best golf that we've seen from him in a long time. T18 at Harbortown after losing a stroke and a half off the tee. He's usually a much better driver than that. His last 4 have 3 top 18 finishes. 2 of them are top 5s. His last 7 starts, he has 3 top 10s. Okay. And then Takumi Kanaya, I'm pretty sure is, let me see here. Hold on one second. Okay. Takumi Kanaya is an incredibly accomplished amateur player who has not found, an international player who has not yet found the success on the PGA Tour. He's missing a lot of cuts. They're not always horrible. He's actually missed like 3 or 4 cuts on the number recently. He's played better on the Asian Tour. He's played better on the European Tour. He has not yet found that level of success on the PGA Tour. This is the type of event you need. I don't know if these guys have a relationship. They're both from Japan. I don't know if there is more to it or if it is just that, but sometimes that's all you need. And the ability to kind of lean on one another. I'm looking for that raw talent. That's what I want this week. I'm looking for a little bit of trust, a little bit of raw talent. Speaking of trust, there's a handful of brothers in this field, right? We've got the Højgaards, we've got the Fitzpatricks. Don't sleep on the Pauls. That's Yannick and Jeremy. They are twins, and they are indecipherable. Is that a word? From each other. Here's Jeremy, and we'll get Yannick's up here. I used to think Yannick was the better Paul. Now I think it's Jeremy. I think Jeremy has kind of outpaced him here. All right, look at this. You cannot tell these two apart. That's a joke. That's the same person. They stood in for each other on photo day. Jeremy, stop me if you've heard this before, finished runner-up in Punta Cana last week. It was like a 5 or 6-way tie. Okay? Had a 22nd at Valspar, a 16th in Puerto Rico. He did miss the cut in both Texas events, but he's playing decent on the PGA Tour. We're going to get to guys who don't have any status basically anywhere. And Jeremy Paul is finishing runner-up in PGA Tour events. And then here's Yannick, who plays a more international game, plays on the DP World Tour. It has not been good, but he finished 3rd last week. So we've got a pair of brothers with immense trust, twins, who are both coming off podium finishes in the week before. Yeah, that's good enough for me, especially at this price of $7,300. Now the 6s. Yeah, this is bad. You're getting some of these pairings are one guy with status and then them dragging somebody along. For example, Eric Cole and Sam Saunders. I know they're best friends. I don't know I don't think Sam Saunders has status anywhere. And I don't even know the last time he's played anywhere. Okay. It's more recent than I thought. He played on the Korn Ferry in the fall and missed like 9 out of 10 cuts to end last year. I'm assuming he doesn't have status anywhere. And Eric Cole's grabbing him because they're buddies. And listen, yeah, I would too, right? Chance to snap off and win and get yourself, get your buddy $1 million and status. Maybe one of the better groups in the 6K range is this one right here. The Angel Ayora Fanegas and Alejandro Del Rey team. How'd I do on that? They picked up a half a stroke together per round. That is probably as good as it gets in the 6K range. I think it is. And we could look at their profiles here. So here's Ayora's profile. Playing on the DP World Tour, though he did play the Puerto Rico Open. Okay finishes, right? He's making cuts. He's finishing between 14th and 50th. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but he's playing routinely and he's playing in bigger events than some of these other guys. Alejandro Del Rey won the Ras Al Khaimah Championship at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of 2025. So that was in January, has played a handful of times since then. Again, a couple of missed cuts, a couple of top 25 finishes. This, believe it or not, these two profiles are better than the vast majority of everything else that you're getting in the 6K range, right? I mean, just from a pure raw strokes gained department. I mean, you've got Ryan Brehm and Mark Hubbard playing this together all the time, I believe. Like, are you excited about Ches Reavie and Brant Snedeker? Are they probably going to win now? Kevin Kisner and Grayson Sigg. That'll be a fun team. Luke Donald and Camilo Villegas. Love those guys. Probably unlikely to contend in any sense this week. So there really are only a few teams in the 6K range that I think are interesting. Isaiah Salinda and Kevin Velo are absolutely live for this. Antoine Rosner and Chris Venture, just the guys that play somewhere every single week are probably your best bet here. But yeah, I'm circling the Angel y Alejandro group at 6,700 is probably my favorite. We're going to run a model here. It's going to be a little bit weird because they're going to pump out as individuals and then we'll, figure it out from there. But I'm going to keep it very simple this week. We need weighted strokes gained total. These guys are all over the park. We are doing weighted strokes gained total. We're going to do 40. Then we are just going to do birdies or better for 25. We are going to do, I guess we could do, we do have TPC Louisiana, right? We could conceivably do that. I don't want to put too much on it. 15, not 155. 15. And then we've got 20 left. We could do like some birdie making stats here. So we could do something like strokes gained approach last 36 and then strokes gained putting last 24 and just kind of find some birdie makers here. All right. Wow. Look at this. Okay. So Rory McIlroy is number 1. Bud Cauley is number 2. Bud Cauley's been great, obviously, in the last 36 rounds and went nuts on Sunday if you missed it last week. He is playing, I saw this team. He is playing with, how long is it going to take me to find this team? I thought he was, okay, Kevin Tway. That's probably a problem. Kevin Tway. What has Kevin Tway been up to? Come on, bud. You could have got somebody real, boy. Not good. Missed the cut in Punta Cana, missed the cut the Club Car, missed the cut the Valspar, didn't play particularly well in Puerto Rico, didn't play particularly well at the Farmers. At least he's long off the tee, right? He's got like one decent. That's going to be tough. Akshay, Sepp Straka, Keith Mitchell's 5, Ryan Gerard is 6, Chan Kim is 7, Colin Morikawa, Nikolai Højgaard, Robbie Shelton. Who is Sepp Straka playing with? They've got to be near the top of the board here. Sepp. Oh, Bryce Garnett. That's the problem. Yeah, I'll be fair to Bryce Garnett and I'll pull him up, but I think that's going to be the problem here. Yeah, that's going to be the problem here. T11 at the Cognizant, that was his best finish. A lot of missed cuts and finishes outside the 40s, 50s, and 60s since then. Okay, so I'm pretty comfortable overlooking that team, quite honestly. But wow, this is such a unique, interesting. Aaron Rise 11th. Higo's 21st. That's actually pretty good. Wow. Okay. Again, have fun this week. It's going to be fun. This is the hardest event in the entire world to prognosticate. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. It'll be a fun time. You'll see low scores on 2 of the days, and alternate shots always fun to watch as well. So best of luck this week. I'll talk to you guys soon.